I thought we was
My
on the
computer
same
always,
team with this. We supposed to be on the
my
same
computer
team with
always
this,
did.
man. He said it was always there.
Yeah, my computer always did. It's always
Yeah.
right there.
So just I think oh, I can see it here on the screen. I think it was like Christmas Day. I finally reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It took like
Oh,
six.
congratulations.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. It took like
So
six years.
that, that, that book in the back, that book in the back gonna be changed when you get that YouTube plaque. You're gonna be like those people that put the YouTube plaque back there and act like you don't really know it's there. Like, oh, this whole thing?
I
Oh, I
think
didn't even know it was there.
I think that plaque is like for a gangster number. I think you got to get like 10,000, maybe, or but I know Juice got the $1 million plaque, but I think like 10,000. But yeah, yeah. If that's still a thing when it comes around, yeah, it'll be somewhere discreet on the side somewhere, real small. But yeah, that's neither here
Yeah,
nor there.
I don't know it's there, but it's there.
Right. But what made me even more like I guess excited about it, right? Is like I just looked at it like, okay, it took me 6 years to do this. So let's just be honest. It took 6 years. You do random content, you talk about what you want to talk about, but there is an appreciation for it. So I thought it was dope. So then I go to Instagram, right? And I don't really visit Instagram too much unless I'm posting something. And then I see some of the vulgar BS that's out. And I'm like, wow. And I say to myself, like, damn, let me keep doing this because if people are entertained by the 6 second, like, vulgarity and BS, then man, if I'm giving them hours worth of good stuff, let me just keep doing this then, and let's see what happens. I'm excited for this like social media stuff, especially when I see stuff that I think isn't like really valuable, that's doing really, really good. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of money out here for everybody. I don't get upset about it. I was like, wow, there's a lot of money out here. That's crazy.
Nah, I think you gotta I think everybody just gotta find a niche. I think the problem is people see things that work for one person and things can work for everything. So I think that the big thing now is just cooking with Kaya thing. This girl that's like cooking
Back, you
work.
sound a little fuzzy a little bit.
I don't know. It's turned the right way this time.
No, it's definitely turning the right way. It's probably just a little bit of noise somewhere else, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's my boiler's working because it's 3 degrees outside and I refuse to be
Oh,
cold.
okay,
So
okay,
that
okay.
boiler working overtime today. But yeah, I said that new thing is this cooking with Kaya thing with the girl. She's cooking and twerking at the same time, and everybody she's viral now. But I think the thing is just you finding your niche,
Right,
your audience, and your people may only be 1,000 people.
right.
But if those are the people that you reach, those are the people that you reach. I think too often people want millions of followers, and the thing is, are you saying anything that's worthy of a million people listening to you, or do you just want a million people just disagreeing with you or engagement?
Hey, I tell people all the time, like if I had 1 million subscribers right now, I wouldn't know what to do with them and keep them engaged and how to keep them engaged because I got a lot of things going on and I kind of want to focus in so I can get on here when I can get on here. But yeah, 1 million followers, that's a big responsibility. That's a huge
So
responsibility.
I'm not a religious person, like in the sense of like I'm
Me
not a
neither.
Bible thumper. I'm not a Bible thumper, right? But what I will say is that I think one of the things that I read and I believe in is it says that when you're praying for something, don't just pray to get it, but you have to pray for the understanding of when you get it, what to do with it. Because a lot of times I think we get blessings or we get things that we want, but we also don't realize that we need to have the understanding of what to do with it, right? So, like for me, like my Christmas was dope, right? Because I got to spend it with family, and I remember there were times where in my dealing with depression, that was one of the things I always felt like, damn, I wish, I had that whole like Griswold family Christmas type of thing.
Right.
So to be able, I'm not saying that we are the Griswolds, but to say that, I got to actually spend time with my family, um, and we cooled out. It had nothing to do with gifts or anything. It was just the simple fact that this was something that I know I prayed for a while, right? To be able to have that, to say that I have a family of my own, and to be able to have to do that, it was something that I got to reflect on by myself for a little while to say like, damn, but the longest while I prayed for this, and then when I got it, I almost had to just quietly just say thank you because it was something like it was almost that dream deferred that people talk about, like, yo, you always wanted something, here it is. And I just had to take that quiet moment to be like, man, this is dope. Like, I got to, and it wasn't like no arguments, no beefing, no nothing. Like we literally just enjoyed spending time with each other. So I think that was dope. So I think with your situation, when you're talking about 1 million followers, it's great to have it, but it's like, well, what are you going to do when you get it? Because there's so many people that have it, and it's like, well, now you're not saying anything, you're not doing anything, you're not helping to uplift people, you're not teaching anybody anything. So you just got 1 million people following you, and it's just like the blind leading the blind. So.
Yeah, no, I get it. But you could have some of the simplest things that like you said, go viral, and people have millions of followers, and it's really like, for me, I would just consider it like it's like junk food. People like it, they're addicted to it, but it's really doesn't have really much value as far as like how it can help somebody else's life build. So it's a little, it is what it is. But like I said, I'm not upset with it. I think I was telling you the other day, the fact that there's a big demand for podcasts, I think that's a great thing. Like, you hear people saying everybody's coming up with a podcast, everybody and their mother got a podcast. I think everybody and their mother should have a podcast then, because there is a demand for the podcast. So bring out your podcast. Like, I know that we have different opinions on this. I think everybody and their mom should have a podcast. What do you think about that?
I think people having access to a microphone, be it for music or to just be able to spout off their opinion, I think it could be good and it could be bad. The unfortunate part is so many bad people have access to it. There's just a lot of people that's just either they're regurgitating foolishness or they're uneducated. And what I tend to find is that the person with what seems like the smallest brain has the biggest mouth. And they're always giving off their opinions, right? But you can't even blame them, because their opinions is something that was given to them. They read it on a meme, they saw it somewhere, or they overheard a conversation, and it's almost like they're now trying to tell you, they're trying to say it to you, but it's almost like they don't have a real understanding of it. So they're trying to get you to understand something they themselves don't understand. And it's annoying, because I already question a lot of these people, their intelligence, right? Okay. So when I see them doing that, it's almost like they just clarify what I think I already know, which is just like, you're uneducated. You would much rather read something on a meme and run with it rather than actually do your research and actually go after it.
Here's the thing, right? I agree with you saying. There's a balance though, right? Because you want somebody to have a confident and have some self-esteem and confidence to, spit their own opinion about something 100%. And that's what I'm all for. Like, I'm the type of person that like to say, okay, I'll do all the research and all the reading, and then kind of like forget all of that stuff and then go autopilot when I'm in conversation and kind of like let that stuff just ooze out of me. So, I'm into that too. So where's the balance though? Because is there anything in your brain that you're oozing out? Or if you're just regurgitating a meme, I think you can just figure that out. You could figure it out. Somebody can look and like, okay, this person's regurgitating the meme. This is not how they really feel. But still, there's still an audience for that particular person too. I still encourage that person to be on camera speaking, because it's hard to do that.
But basically what you're saying is that it's okay to steal, right? Because in school, if you took somebody's thoughts or their paper and just wrote it and copied it and put your name on it, right? They would say that it was plagiarism. Right? I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. There was this young rapper by the name of XX Tentacion or something. Young kid that got killed in a BMW in Florida. And they had this whole like conspiracy theory going on about this kid, where Drake was supposedly involved in the Illuminati and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, when I tell you, when you read this thing, it was like, it almost had me convinced, right? So it was like, he died on the second day, and Drake has 2 in the OVO and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, wow. But after a while, like, I started hearing kids say it, teenagers, and even adults, right? And it's like, they literally read this thing and put it to memory so that when they were having conversations, they can just regurgitate the same foolishness over and over again. Mm-hmm. But what you noticed is Drake never got charged with murder, right? There was no investigation done on the part of Drake to say, okay, he had anything to do with it. It's almost like people read these things, and it's so dangerous, because when I was younger, I think one of the biggest questions that I had was, it was about Adolf Hitler, and it was about Jim Jones. Adolf Hitler, everybody kind of knows who he is, just off his name. But the other person, Jim Jones, is the guy that took all those people to Guyana and he had them drink like it was like poison Kool-Aid or something.
Right.
And they all died because he told them that they were gonna after they committed suicide they were all gonna go to heaven and all the other stuff. And I used to wonder, like, how did anybody convince you to be this stupid, right? Like, who could have just told you, yo, Ronald, if you drink this poison Kool-Aid, I promise that, you're gonna get to go to heaven and blah blah blah. And I always wondered. And then when the internet came out, and I saw how quickly people spread misinformation, I was just like, wow, it doesn't take much to be that type of person or have that type of personality or to convince people to follow you. Really, I mean, you could say the craziest thing and think that you're on an island by yourself, and there's like a good 1,000 to 20,000 other people who feel the same way that you do.
Right.
So, when I look at a Trump, for instance, who says he can stand in the middle of Times Square and shoot everybody and he can still get elected, I'm like, yo, this guy gets it. Like he know what he's talking about. Like,
right. So
at this point, we're surrounded by people who are looking for somebody to lead them. They're looking for the information. So when they read it, they don't even fact check it. If you put up a meme right now, you said, hey, there was an alien on Lyons Avenue, I 100% guarantee you that somebody who never saw the alien and probably wasn't even on Lyons Avenue is just going to agree with you because they're all just looking for something to agree with, and they want to be a part of something for the first time.
One could argue, right, that since like some of the beginning of the time, you take it back to 17th century, before religion, before philosophy, you have religion, then you have philosophy, then you have like a mixture of both. Now you have all types of things people believe in, but people in general are looking for something to believe in. They're looking for a way, a modus operandi, a way of operating life, period. That's what it seems like people are looking for anyway. And it sucks because anytime they get an opportunity, it seems like to have something, they just grab onto it and they say, okay, this is the thing that I'm just going to follow. Instead of just doing like I like to do, is just finding and doing the research itself. They're not really into that. So it seems like an overwhelming majority of the people, right, would be followers anyway.
You know what I hate when I hear people say that they've done their research, and it's the people who claim that they don't like the internet, right? Or they spout off the conspiracy theories. Where do most of these people do their research?
On social media, possibly online.
Or on the internet.
Right.
So it's like, how do you not trust the internet? But then most of the so-called facts that you're pushing off comes exactly from where you're telling me you don't trust it.
Right.
Like very few people pick up a book and say, hey, I'm going to read this and I'm going to compare and contrast, right? So I'm going to read this book as opposed to this book, or I'm going to talk to this person as opposed to that person and come to a conclusion. Most of these people just type something in or type in a question, and whatever that computer spits out. And here's the thing, on Google, like there's multiple pages, right?
Right.
The average person doesn't go past page number 2. So you look at the first thing that pops up, right? But then it's like, even if you get to a person who is smart enough to, let's say, all right, let me click to the next page, see those results, you're never going to get to a person that goes all the way to the end. So research for most of these people is whatever is fed to me or whatever is given to me on a silver platter. So if you tell me that my question is right here and this is the first thing that pops up, then that's what they want. And they're going to, again, die on that hill because, well, this is what Google told me or this is what Yahoo told me. But how many people, like, what legwork have you done?
Right.
Where have you gone aside from what the mainstream has done? And why would you even call it research when, honestly, to me, research, and this is my own, I guess, ignorant version of what research is like you actually diving deep into something, not just what's on the surface. So when a person tells me they've done research and it's like, yeah, I Googled it, I clicked on the first link, this is what it says. How's that research? Like, research takes time.
No, I understand. No, that makes perfect sense. But a lot of times people don't have the time to do all the research. You have researchers who do the research, so they're gonna go by the first thing they see on Google, like you said. And in Google, I think there was something, I want to say it was a couple of months ago, they were trying to they were going back and forth as to should Google vet the information that's put out on Google before Google puts the information out. And I think that the conclusion was no, just let people be able to put out the information so you can get all type of information. To your point, you can go on those
including
other pages.
This information.
Yeah. You can get all those information, all those type of information out there. Only thing I ask is this, right? I want to see and view the same information you viewed, and let's see if we have the same opinion about the same information. That's what I think is cool. Like, even if let's say that the information is true, right? Let's see if we come with the same conclusion about information that's true. You know,
No.
that's the thing. I want to see this. Whatever you're looking at and I'm looking at, then we can come
that's
to
already
and have a debate on that. Like, we have the same information.
That's already research. You don't got to look into that. That's already research. How many people read the Bible, right? 10 different people read the Bible, and 10 different people can read the same page in the Bible and get 10 different versions of what they read. So it's really just your interpretation. It's how you're feeling that day, what you got from it because of your personal experiences and your personal biases.
That's why for me, right, like the Bible and all of the allegory in it, there's great stories, right? But I feel that if you're telling something about the truth and something that a story, that's the different. Bible is built on faith. Like, you have to have faith. But when we're talking about facts, like, we should be able to come and see the same facts, and it shouldn't be in a way in which we can't understand them.
So let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Before you speak on anything inside of a courtroom, what do you have to swear on?
I always thought that was interesting. And check this out.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
No, but
book of allegories.
No, but check it out. Check it out. You're correct. Guess what I saw though when I went to court, and this is just like landlord-tenant court. I noticed that because I said to myself, like, when it comes to putting a hand on the Bible, here I am. I'm telling the biggest lie already because I'm not one who partakes and believes in, those type of things. I'm not a faith-based person. So let me say that. So I would automatically think to myself, like, okay, well, here I am.
But they don't do that anymore.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They don't do it anymore. They don't do it anymore. I found that interesting.
I think you have to just raise your right hand and you don't put your hand on the actual Bible.
Right.
But
I thought that was
I always
interesting.
wondered about it because so many people have different religions.
Right.
So if you get a person who practices an Islamic faith, do you still have them put their hand on the Bible, or if a person practices Judaism, do you have them put their hand on the Bible?
Right. Or what if a person just says, right, exactly. It's like, okay, this is easy for me. Like, I'm going to go ahead and lie anyway, So I noticed that when you said that, I was like, you know what? When I went to court, I did notice that they didn't say you want to put your hand on the Bible. They didn't say that. It was
Not
different.
anymore.
It was different.
Yeah.
The times, and I wonder why. I know so many different people, but how come they couldn't come up with that conclusion years ago? It took now to realize that, damn, so many people have their different beliefs.
Well, back then, you got to remember that this information didn't travel as fast back then. Remember, if a person in New Jersey had the same thought as a person in Seattle or Japan or somewhere else, it took a while for that information to even come together. Right? You and I could be on two different time zones and have this same conversation right here. So imagine how much information is now passed through, right? Where people can say, like I said before, you now have people in different areas that have the same mindset, the same thought process. Right. And it's amazing because you're like, yo, I live in New Jersey, you live in Milwaukee, or I live in New Jersey, you live in Nebraska. And we're all thinking the same, or we're experiencing the same thing. So now this person is like, yo, that's crazy. Or you're able to give me a different vantage point that I never thought of before. Mm-hmm. And it may change my whole outlook on things. Like, yo, that's crazy. Right. So I know, I can't remember the state, but there's a state that uses it's a truck that they scoop the snow up and it dumps it in the back, right? When it dumps it in the back, it's a whole bunch of heaters. So when the snow goes through it, it turns into water and it dumps it right into the sewage, right? There's a state where this is what they do. And I'm pretty sure New York, New Jersey, places like that are metropolis type places are wondering why we don't have that type of technology yet. Because imagine now not having to worry about a snowbank when these plows come through and pile up snow. But if they can just come through, dump all that snow in the back, turn it into water, it goes down into the sewage drain, right? And it almost looks like no snow fell that day. Wouldn't that be much better than what we're doing right now? Or you have countries that those yellow things that are on the highway, they don't use they don't use metal. They use the plastic that's filled with water, and they roll. So when you hit it, your car actually rolls instead of crumpling against the metal. So there's a lot of things that we can advance with, but we don't know those things because if you didn't live in that area, or if we didn't know, somebody didn't go there and take a picture of it, we didn't know before. So when people used to come back with the information, they almost came back with what they remembered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you went somewhere, you remembered something, or you half remembered it, and you came back giving us the information. Now we could get it in real time. Like you want to know what's going on in Japan, you could call Japan, the dude tell you exactly what's happening, and you can kind of bring the information back that way and not have to really relate to your memory or rely on your memory.
One of the things you said, I thought that was interesting, is that as far as like, you know, people can be thinking about the same thing in other places and other parts of the world. That's really true. And also the same thing is creation. As far as I'm taking it to a creative point, like creation is pretty, having ideas is pretty normal. Like there's nothing special about your ideas or anything like that, because you can have an idea here, somebody can have the same idea somewhere else all across the world. You guys don't even know each other, but have the similar ideas. It's all about
and it's just who executes it first,
who executes proper on the idea, which can get them views and stuff like that, or whatever the case is. Yeah, it's all about the execution of the idea. So yeah, I definitely understand that, where you can get there. But when it comes to certain things, utilities and stuff on the roads and things of that nature, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I do know that some of that stuff costs money, and I don't want my taxes going up for any reason at all. And that's what leads me into one of these things that I wanted to talk about with you, was a personal responsibility. All right, personal responsibility. We had some things go on a couple of weeks ago with the medical guy who got shot and things of that nature. It made me bring up healthcare. It made me bring up those things because I was going back and forth with a friend of mine. We were talking about healthcare and
I was the one that commented on it. Remember?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. So where do you put, how much personal responsibility is one to have?
On what?
On just what part of your life are you not responsible for, that you would have to say, I have to put on some other entity or someone else, whether it's the government or some other person, and you say that I'm not personally responsible for that part, like in my life. Whereas I'm a self-proclaimed, what's the word? Like control freak, I guess. So I'm naturally a control freak. So I would like to think I have my hands on as much things as possible. Personal responsibility is a big one for me. So, for instance, if it happened to me, my insurance got canceled. They came by to check one of my roofs. They say, don't like the way the roof look. We're going to cancel your insurance next month. I looked at the roof myself and I can assess it and see, okay, well, I can see what they're talking about. I can see, it's not the perfect roof. So yeah, I got to, get the roof done. They're going to drop me. So I had to find new insurance. I was able to find new insurance, but there's situations where individuals aren't able to find new insurance. So like I said, where do you take it there? If I wasn't able to find new insurance, like whose responsibility is that? It's like a personal responsibility thing. That's where I'm at with that. How big are you on that?
I mean, I do think people have to take personal responsibility, but I think the other part of it is that we tend to give names to things, such as fraud, right? If you had the same thing going that the insurance companies have going, it would be listed as fraud, right? But these companies, or these bigger companies, are able to do these things because how long did you necessarily have this policy?
I had this policy for 7 years.
Right. So in the 7 years, you never made a claim. You never did anything, right?
No.
You don't get any money back from it. There's really no benefit to it other than the what if. But here's my issue with the what if, right? You call in because something does happen to you. It's not an instantaneous thing where they're going to cut you a check or say, hey, let me send somebody out to replace the roof. You now have to jump through loopholes, right? So, or they're going to try to find a loophole in order to not pay you or pay out on this claim, right? Which makes zero sense to me. If 7 years I've been paying you, no issues, no nothing. Here I have an issue, right? And the first thing you're looking to do is drop me, right? I do see where people can get frustrated. A couple of things where I know that people don't necessarily understand is, yes, the insurance companies, they have their ways. But part of what people don't understand is what your company pays for is what you get, right? So if your company is willing to pay a big or a large sum of money, then you can get whatever it is that you want. If your company is nickel and diming the insurance company, then that's why you get what you get, right? I can't for the life of me make it make sense. I get maybe you doing something to the building, but this one particular CEO that you targeted is kind of weird to me because I don't get what we were looking to happen or what the outcome was supposed to be. Like a person lost their lives, right?
It seemed like, and real quick, it seemed like he had enough means to get whatever he need done. I'm saying
the shooter.
The shooter. It seems like he had enough means to get whatever he needed done. I thought, like I said, I don't visit the internet much, but I see memes of people donating money and all of these things. I'm like, wow, like damn. I see something. His mother had an inheritance or something for him and all that. I'm like, well, damn. Like
I'm gonna tell you why I think it's weird though. These are the same people that during the election, right? They were talking about the different sides in the NRA, right? So most of these people who are supporting this gentleman that just murdered someone, right, are the same people who were just talking about the same thing happening in schools and how we needed control for these weapons. So you can't, in one sense, be upset at it, right? When it's happening to a demographic that you yourself are passionate about. But then when it affects another demographic, you're cheering for it. Because now you're on the same side as these people that you claim were bad people, right? When the other people saw what happened in the schools and went, oh, well, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are like, oh, my, well, not you guys, but I'm saying they were like, oh, my God, that's so insensitive. How could you say that, right? Then this CEO gets shot down. And the same people now were like, oh, well. And we're all trying to figure out, like, everybody doesn't realize now we're right back to the middle, right? Which means that as long as it personally affects you, you want to change, right? When it doesn't affect you, you're okay with it because this is still a shooting. This person could have just as well easily have shot a regular citizen, right? Or a person who had absolute nothing to do with anything. And then these same people that are supporting him today would have been calling for gun control. So I'm confused as to how we want gun control, but we're okay with the person who did it because he's appealing to the eye, or we're happy with, like, first of all, why are you even happy that he gunned someone down? Because you could have easily started a podcast and made your voice be heard. You could have ran for office and tried to affect some change. How did you shooting this person in the middle of Times Square, like Trump said, somehow get you to what it is that you're looking for? So I think it's crazy. I think the amount of publicity that the case has gotten and how this guy has gotten to be like some type of sex symbol for people that's the weirdest thing to me ever.
Right.
The fact that people have put money on his books or put money for his defense is also crazy to me because, like you said, financially he's not in need of anything.
Right.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
People just
based on
people
what I'm
just
saying.
have, but that money could have easily gone to other people. Like, here's my thing, right? All right, so we realize that there's a problem. So let's say somebody can't afford their medication and it's the health insurance fault. Somebody can't afford surgery because of health insurance. Maybe that same money that you donated to the killer, right? You could have put in a pot, right? And started a nonprofit where you paid for things like this out of necessity, right? So how we got to this point is weird to me. And again, it doesn't make sense because we're not okay with school shootings, but we're okay with random people getting shot or killed in the middle of the street. And no one is saying anything, and we're okay with that. As if this somehow vindicates the hundreds of schools that's been shot up. I don't get it. But I don't think everything is supposed to make sense to me, so I just kind of leave it as it is. But I definitely don't get it. I think
So back to what I'm saying, that I understand that portion of what happened with the, especially with the, I can't remember the guy's name. I don't think it's no point to remember his game.
Who,
really.
Luigi?
Yeah, you go, Luigi. I thought it was named something
Luigi
like that.
Mangione.
Mangione. Okay, Luigi Mangione. Seemed like he had enough money to take care of that stuff. And the thing is that nobody's talking about, this guy was a college, was he a college graduate or he went to college? I know he was a valedictorian of his high school. That's been said all over the place. This guy was smart enough to figure out a way to get whatever he needed done. That's what I mean by personal responsibility, especially for somebody who had the means. We see now they had the means. So he got what he needed. Okay, so he got what he needed. So this wasn't about him not getting what he needed. This was just about him. I thought they were saying something about his back something is an issue with his back.
I can't speak on what his deal is, but I mean,
Right.
right now we have national attention to this, right?
Mhm.
People are now paying attention not only to the healthcare industry, right? But we're now talking about just healthcare and it's how unbalanced it is, right? Before this, were you talking about healthcare? Did you have any opinions on healthcare prior to this? Anything that you would have been bringing up on your podcast?
No,
No.
I didn't.
Right.
But
So-
I told you, the time I had issues, I was able to take care of my issues with insurance. So that's the thing. Insurance
Well,
has been great for me. I don't have
I
any
think-
claims, like anything crazy to say about insurance.
But I think housing insurance is a
No,
little
no.
bit different
Well,
from
no,
health insurance.
no. Housing insurance and health insurance. Like with the housing part, I'm still trying to figure out. Not like I'm not automatically on the defense, but they did cancel my insurance and I got a brand new insurance, right? So I'm trying to look at it from their point of view. They're saying they're telling me they only gave me like a month. Like this roof needs to get fixed, or else we're not going to insure you. So in their minds, is it that the roof wear and tear was like that before they insured it, and then they recognized it, and now they have an issue with it? Like, it was one of those things. So I just automatically, just moving and just going to the next person because I need insurance. I just said, go ahead, let me go to the next person. I really didn't fight that battle. But there are those who fight the battle. And I just want to know, like, what happens when you fight the battle? Because I've never fought that insurance back and forth battle.
So what I think a lot of people go through, and I did work in the health insurance field for a little bit. So I'll give you a perfect example. Mom calls in because she got a denial letter. Now, the denial letter basically is telling you that the provider that you've gone to, provider being a doctor, is not in your network, right? You can't see this doctor. And what mom is saying is, my son has cancer, right? And this is the best doctor to deal with my son's cancer. So she's well aware that he's outside of the network, but her thing is, this doctor deals with my son, and we've gotten the best results from this person. So she continues to go to him. What tends to happen is maybe it's denied, mom calls in, right? And they do like a reassessment of it, right? And they kind of let it pass the first time. Like, hey, we're going to pay this, but you can't go back and see Ronald again. Yeah, but Ronald really is helping my kid's cancer. Like, this is the person that I want to go to. So you do it again, right? Ronald being the great doctor that he is, he's charging you $20,000, $30,000 each session, right? Now you send in the bill and we go, yo, we kind of told you we ain't paying it no more. We're not going to be able to pay this. Now, mom is $20,000 in medical debt, right? From your standpoint, you're saying, well, hey, listen, they were told she shouldn't have did it. She should have found another doctor. From her standpoint, she's saying, hey, for my son's life, from whatever we're dealing with, I'm going to continue going to Ronald because this is the person, right? You guys just have to find a way to work around it. Those are kind of the things that people are arguing about. The other thing is that Ronald may have had a lapse in coverage. So you hurt your back, you go out on disability, whatever happened between you and your job, there was a lapse in coverage, you come back to work, right? That little bit of time that you didn't have insurance, right? Any claim that you put in after that, I'm going to deny that claim because I'm going to tell you that it was a pre-existing condition. Well, we know it was pre-existing because you were paying for it before. Yeah, but remember that little lapse that you didn't have insurance for that week or 2 weeks or that month, right? Now when you start fresh, I'm going to say that this is not our responsibility because it's a pre-existing condition. So a lot of people have these issues and they're upset about it. But again, it's who you blame, right? So do you blame your company for saying, hey, you got to get better health insurance, which is why you see some people may take a job that pays a little bit less, but they have better health insurance, or they get paid a lot of money and their health insurance is shitty. But at the end of the day, the health insurance job or the company, the job of the health insurance company is to make money, right? They're not in it to say, hey, we want the best for Ronald, or, we're looking to, obviously, in the commercials, they make it sound good, but at the end of the day, they didn't make money. And because they're looking to make money, unfortunately, a lot of times they have to make those decisions. So they bring in clinicians and people like that who will reassess it. Sometimes they'll cancel it for something as simple as the person in Ronald's office, who's the person who does the billing and the coding.
Right.
You sent in the wrong code and it doesn't get paid. Or you're trying to get paid for something that is not technically approved, but you're trying to slip something in there to get more money. Because at the end of the day, everybody's trying to get paid here. The doctor's trying to get paid, health insurance companies trying to get paid. You're just looking to get better. And you're kind of the person in the middle. So everybody's pulling on you, and they're making you see, and everybody's in your ear telling you the other person's the bad guy. So on your right-hand side, the doctor's telling you that it's the health insurance that's the bad guy. On your left-hand side, the health insurance is telling you that your doctor's the bad guy. And you're stuck in the middle because you need both of them. It ain't like you could walk away from one, like, all right, screw the doctor, I'm going to go with the health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say screw health insurance because I'm going to go with the doctor because your doctor's not treating you for free. So should we look into a situation where we have maybe like universal health care in America or something like that? Sure. But then you know what we're going to run into? The same people that don't want people's student loans paid for. It's like, well, I had to pay off a $30,000 doctor bill, so why do you get to have medical coverage for free? You're always going to run into that situation instead of people just kind of, all right, I got it fucked up back in the day.
Speaking of that the student loan situation, I don't know where I stand on it, but I know I have student loans I'm about to pay off, but $20,000 to $40,000, something simple. Wasn't big money in student loans, but why? I keep telling people all the time. So why did they allow my dumb ass to go to school? That was stupid. Like, I would have never went to school. I didn't learn anything from college at all. I would have never went to school. So having that loan and you giving money out to people, and now you got to be paying that money back for some reason. I don't agree with this giving everything to people for free. Because look, my ass went to school. I wasn't serious about school at all. I don't know how I even got to fucking college. I don't know how it happened. But I went to college and I got student loans. And I'm looking like, damn, why am I paying these student loans? I didn't even graduate. They didn't learn a damn thing from school. So that's my thing with student loans. They shouldn't allow every student to go to school. If you're not the type of student that got in school, but based on your credentials and your grades, and then yeah, you got to pay for yourself.
I'm gonna disagree with you on a couple of things. I mean, I definitely think you're smart enough to go to school. Maybe school just wasn't your thing, but I wouldn't agree with you on the lack of intelligence. I think the other part of it is that I think it's weird that they will give you $40,000 for school, but they wouldn't give you that same $40,000 to start a business. So you can qualify for that $40,000 to go to school. Had you asked for that same $40,000 to buy a house, they wouldn't have given it to you, right? And what I think people are missing is nobody wants them to give you anything for free. What they're saying is that it's the predatory manner in which they gave it to you. Because why is it that 10, 20 years from now, after paying $500, $600, $1,000 a month, right, that you haven't even made a dent in what it is that they allegedly loaned to you, or not allegedly, but that they loaned to you.
Yeah, I don't think they did it on purpose.
But the interest rates are so high. So what everybody's saying is, hey, just allow me to give you the money that you gave me, even if I had to give you a couple $1,000s over that. But the fact that people 20 years later are still paying back a student loan is crazy.
Those same people they should have never went to school for what they went to school for, man. I know me. I look at it like, damn, if I would have dropped out, if I would have known, I would have dropped out first year. Like, man, I already know what I want to do. I'm dropping out first year. I don't really need school for this. I'm out. And they just kept giving me those loans. So I was like, so when I look at debt and I look at those free things, I'm like, man, everybody was able to go to school. And I knew people who I felt that weren't smart, including myself, when it comes to school smarts, like academics, when it comes to in school. I know you're not smart. I'm not smart when it comes to that. And I know you're not smart yet. We're both in school. But
what's the difference between what they did and the predatory loans that they were doing with housing?
Right.
It's the same thing.
No, that's what I said. I don't believe that you should give people things that they don't deserve or they didn't earn. That's not, because what happens is it just falls back in your face. Look at me. I take my example from student loans. I wasted the school's time, even though it wasn't. I'm not going to talk about the school, but the school, I didn't learn nothing in school at all in college.
What did you go to school for?
Business administration. I didn't learn anything. And then
how long did you go to school for?
I was in school, like, I was playing around with that school thing. That's what I'm gonna call it. I was playing around with that school thing for about three or 4 years. 3 or 4 years I was playing around with the school thing with college.
Fuck, yeah. You was in school for 4 years and you ain't graduate? You need your ass whooped.
No,
if you get to 4 years, you might as well just graduate at that point.
Bro, it just didn't make sense. Like, I'm happy where I'm at now. It didn't make sense. I was into working. this making a little bit of money that I was making, but the school wasn't happening for me. But they gave me the student loans. But the bottom line is, this is about them just giving away money the way they were giving away money. And it just makes sense for them to do it, because now that student loan, from a lot of things in the literature that I come across, they call a student loan the government's cash flow. That's their cash flow. They give you the loan, and now you're paying it back for the rest. Some people are going to be for the rest of their life, it seems like.
Hence why everybody or the public is calling it predatory lending.
Yeah.
Right? So all they're saying is, they're not telling you not to give them the money. They're just saying, hey, make it so that I can pay it back within a reasonable amount of time. I shouldn't be out of school 30 years still making student loan payments. That doesn't make sense. And I shouldn't have to now go into a field where they're offering to do a forgiveness, right? Simply because I know that this is not where I want to work at, but if I go into being a teacher, after working 5 or 10 years, they're going to do a loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah. Or in my case, have to, refi just to take care of a student loan, and it's
Word.
like,
or when you were stripping, like, you ain't have to do all that. You shouldn't get doing all that shit for that.
No, seriously, man.
Well,
seriously.
We ain't gonna talk about that part. About that part.
But to your point, man, that's why when you give away stuff free, it's no good. And then the gun control thing is another thing. Like, it's a funny way of saying gun control. Like, what are you really controlling?
Again, but see, the thing is, when people play on words like that, right? That's my issue. It's when they're saying gun control, they're looking for regulations on guns, right? Like, if you're saying that you need guns for hunting, right? You don't need one of those like Rambo guns with the thing that wraps around your arm, with all the bullets that wrap around your arm, and you just
right.
That's not hunting, right? You don't need 50 million guns, right? Or would you consider yourself a collector? You don't need 50 million guns. What they're trying to say is that they're looking for things like, maybe the same way that you have to reassess your license, or get your license renewed every 4 years.
So you're talking about reform, maybe, like some type of reform or something like that.
Yeah. So maybe when you have guns, maybe somebody has to come. Maybe you have to do like a mental check every 4 years or something like that. That's all they're really asking. But people try to villainize things, because now it's almost like, we're still being governed by rules that were written in the 1800s, right? How is that possible?
Gun control for me is like rent control.
You said rent control?
Gun control is like rent control, right? They got rent control laws, big time cities with rent control laws, New York City and San Francisco. And look at them now, got the highest rent there is in the nation. So it doesn't do what it's intended to do.
Well, that's again because people are looking for loopholes, though, right? If I think one of the things we got to get rid of is the loophole, right? Let's just say things plain and straight. You need rent control for a reason, because again, it all starts with that word predatory, right? You have predatory landlords, you have predatory lenders, right? You need something that's going to control that.
Now, pedophilia, like pedophile landlords, I've heard of. Predatory landlords, I don't know.
What?
I'm not. No.
You
yeah.
said,
well, yeah. Well, you've heard of landlords doing some messed up things, but as far as predatory landlords like that, as far as when it comes to tenants and things of that nature,
you've heard of predatory landlords. I mean, and again,
unknown caller.
This dude got like a fancy ass ringtone.
Nah, I don't know. That was my fault. I'm listening. But yeah,
predatory
landlords.
Predatory landlords to me would be like, okay, for instance, private landlords. So a person that owns a house may not do the same things that a Ronald does, right? So for instance, if I know that this person has an eviction on their record, right? It's hard for them to get housing anywhere else. Yes. So the word starts to spread. Thank you, Big Bill. The word starts to spread like, yo,
Lawrence.
I'm listening.
You would think that this person would want to, do a background check, find out why this person has an eviction on their record, or, you may not want to take this person because they have an eviction on their record. Instead, what you do is You realize that the girl has an eviction on her record and you bring her in, right? But you start doing things like if her stove is broken or if her heat is broken, right? You don't fix it. You don't do anything because your thing is, well, you can always leave. But you telling her to leave, you know that she can't leave. Why? Because who else is going to take her, right? So that's the first half of your being a predator. Then the next thing is you may start asking for some shit that don't actually go along with the rent, right?
Yeah, I'm saying, I've seen stuff like that. I mean, not seen stuff, but I've heard stuff like that happen.
I want the rent
more often than I thought it would happen. Like, whoa, what the hell? Yeah,
and then
crazy.
Now,
that's crazy.
So there are predators in those situations. And again, you're taking advantage of people because of the situation they're in. So you remember the other day, it was like 2 degrees outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you threatening to kick somebody and their kids out when it's 2 degrees outside. Now this woman got to make a decision. Do I go outside in the cold with my kids? Do I risk getting locked out with my kids? Or do I have to do what this person's telling me to do? Now, in your mind, right? Because you're Ronald and you're like, this is crazy. Like, I'd just go find somewhere else. Unfortunately, because this person has an eviction or multiple evictions on their record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if we even look at it from, it may not even be an eviction situation. Do you know that if a person just goes down there and files an eviction against you, right, that shows up. So you being a landlord, if you do a background check and you see that somebody filed it, it's not to say that they were evicted, because they could have came to some sort of understanding. But because there was a filing down there, it's on this person's record, right? And I think it's 7 years for it to come off or something. Don't quote me on that part, but I know it takes a little while for it to come off of their record. But again, you have people out there who are just predators in that way. I know there's a thing going viral on Facebook where people are going to this car dealership where people are spending like $1,000 or $1,500 a month on a car, and it's like a 50-month lease or something like that. Like, it's a crazy amount of where people are like, yo, you could have bought a house for that. But again, people are just being taken advantage of.
In that situation with the car lease, there were more than likely there were probably documents signed, right? And here goes with the personal responsibility part. Like, you signed the documents, and that's the issue. You signed the documents that put you in this bad loan, or this terrible loan, or this expensive loan. But so you're saying, now you didn't say this, but that person that signed the documents, you're thinking that more often than not, they're going to be idiots that sign the documents like that person did, than it would be people who would look at the documents. And if you're saying that, then you believe that certain decisions need to be made for people. Not
idiots. So I thoroughly believe in this new trend that everybody has going on where they do that. We listen and we don't judge. I'm not judging you to call you an idiot. What I will say is that sometimes we're uneducated in certain fields.
Okay, well, look, right? I just did that for the podcast, right? Because I'm
a judging. No,
I'm a judging type. I'm a judging type
because
I'm a judging type. I don't. Whatever that is, I'm judging you because it's like
I can't.
So what do you? So what do you want?
You know why I don't judge people though?
No,
because a lot of times we judge the outcome, right? Very few people take into consideration what a person's what choices you had to make, right? So here's the thing, just like we were talking about the person with the predatory landlord, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a mother who has kids, right? She has nowhere to go, right? This is her record. This man wants to sexually do something to you and you don't want to do anything with him, right? But because of his perversion, right, he's giving you this option, which is you either sleep with me or perform oral sex on me, or you got to get out with your 2 kids.
And that is illegal. That's illegal. That is illegal.
It is illegal. But the thing is, these are your options now, right? What do you do in that situation?
So
now when you
illegal,
hold
Rob.
on,
that's 100%
illegal. When you and I judge her and go, oh man, this whore, or like that was stupid. Like, why would you do that, right? Again, we're judging the outcome and not the decision that this person had to make or the position that they found themselves in. So a lot of times when I say that a person is ignorant to something, right? If you don't know, right? Ronald may be able to pick up the phone and call his dad and be like, yo, dad, this is the situation I'm in, right? Where do you think I should go? Now, your dad may tell you to go left, right? And you decide, okay, my dad is always fucking up. I'm going to go right. Regardless, you still have somebody to bounce the idea off of, right? Or you may be like, yo, my dad is the greatest person in the world.
Don't go too far. Don't go too far from
hold on. I'm not.
From that first example. Because you got to give me a chance to go.
your dad tells you to go right, and then you actually go right because your dad is one of those dope people where you can get the advice from. You have some people who are just out here in this world by themselves, and they're just trying their best. So is it sometimes that you get to make a decision and it's not the best one? 100%. But I don't judge them because, again, maybe if I was in that situation, I would have made a fucked up deal. Or I would have made the right decision, right? But I'm only now saying that because I'm Monday morning quarterbacking the decision that this person made.
It's still the same decision. Like what you were talking about, the landlord doing that is illegal. That's coercion. That's not right. That's illegal. That's against the law, period. You're not supposed to do that. But now, personal responsibility wise, the woman is not supposed to sleep with the guy based off of that coercion that she was put in, right? I believe that, and I just learned this, so I'm not even going to sit here and not act like I'm a front runner with this because I like it because this is indicative to, you know, what I really like believe. Like a fool can put his coat on better than a wise man can do it for him.
A fool can put his coat on better than a wise man.
Better than a wise man could do it for him. So
you got to explain that to me a little bit.
Basically, I think that people will figure it out, and they don't need help figuring it out. And some people are just not going to figure it out. That's just the what's it called? That's just the law of averages.
So is that a play on the fact that you teach a man to fish, he eat forever, and as opposed to you giving him a fish and he only eats for a day?
No, I'm not saying teach him anything. Close. I'm not saying teach him anything. He'll figure it out. Like basically, they'll figure it out eventually. Like, so, you know, a fool doesn't need you to put his coat on for him if he could put his coat on. And it's because you're smart and you know how to put his coat on. He could put his coat on for himself. So I don't believe that people need that aid that much, that help from government or anybody else. They can figure it out themselves. That's the best thing for them. Once they do figure it out themselves, that's the best thing that they can do for themselves is figure it out. Figure out a plan for themselves. That person that got coerced by the landlord, the best thing she can do is figure out, like, damn, that was against the law. That was illegal. He shouldn't have never did that. I shouldn't have did what I did because I wasn't obligated to do that.
Yeah, but again, see that's the thing. We're looking at just the outcome, right, and not the situation. So at that point where your decision was, you either do what the landlord's asking you to do, or you got to get out with your two kids in the cold.
But there goes the fake. Real quick, that's the issue. And that sometimes, you know, people say they think they have a dilemma when they really don't. You didn't have a dilemma because you don't have to get out and go in the cold because of a landlord said that. That is not the law.
If you don't know that, but see, that's the thing. That's
then whose fault is it for not knowing it? That's my part.
No. You have the privilege of being ignorant to this situation, right? Because when we talk about these things, you're only thinking about it from your standpoint, right? You got to remember that there are people here who are migrants, or whether you want to call them illegal immigrants, right? There are people here who don't have that type of backing. There are women out here who it's just them and their kids. They don't have anybody that they can call them, right? So again, if this man forcefully puts you out of the house, you and your kids are going to be outside. You now have to go to court and fight him for this. And yes, you're right. It is wrong, right?
It's illegal. It's illegal. It's not just wrong. It's illegal. The landlord will go to jail for that type of stuff.
But when you go to, it takes time for you to go to court and you have to get on the docket. And you as a landlord yourself know this because you have people who owe you rent and it took a while for you to get there. So what I'm saying to you is that when a person makes a decision based on the situation that they're in at that moment, it's hard for me to judge them because, again, I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation where my kids got to go outside in 2-degree temperature. Because where you as an adult may be able to say, you know what, I'm a rough it out and I'm gonna suffer it through until I get myself together, right? She doesn't have that option.
Look,
maybe that's not something that she thinks she has an option.
Now, that in that particular situation, and yeah, that's I still think that they can figure it out themselves eventually. That this sucks, but that's the law of averages. Those situations do happen. I'm not going to sit here and act like that particular situation doesn't happen, but more often than not, that's not happening. There is much less of a situation than that.
I don't want you to say that. I 100% don't want you to say that because not only is it happening
because I'm a landlord and I've been to court and I haven't seen a situation like that when you said, not to say it doesn't happen, right. But I've been to court several times and I've never seen that particular situation.
I've never seen a shark either, but that doesn't mean that the person who got attacked by a shark is a liar. Right. I've just never seen one in person.
And it's not as many shark attacks as you think. That's another thing too. So what I'm saying is hold on. I've never, real quick.
Not only does it happen in housing, it also happens in with employment, right? So recently in Georgia, when they had that flood, right, you had a whole bunch of migrants who were killed in the flood because the the boss, even though there was a state of emergency, the boss forced them to come in and work, and they all died, right? So when you say things like, well, I've never encountered it, again, that's great. You've never encountered it. But I'm telling you this because of my own experiences.
And I get
myself have seen.
But what happens
so when
is
I'm
this.
telling you that these things happen, and you're saying, well, it happens less than, it should never happen at all.
Okay,
so
well,
whether it's
the
one
law of
case
averages,
or 100
the law of
cases-
averages, and the volition that people can have to do whatever they want. The law of averages, I can see things like that happening. But yeah, I just feel like I said, I'm stick with this one. A fool can put his coat on better than a wise man can do it for him. So what is your remedy for all of this? Everybody just be good to everybody? Like, you know, that'd be great.
Advocates.
That'd be great, but that's just not the reality of the world.
I think people need advocates. So in jail, they have something called an advocate or an ombudsman, right? Which is a person that speaks on your behalf and makes sure that you get what's due to you. Right?
That's what they have lawyers for. The situation, the chick.
But everybody can't afford a lawyer, right? And
but in that situation, a lawyer would eat that up, right? I mean, you can go to civil right. I had an issue where
a lawyer.
But everybody can go down to the courthouse and file a complaint, because I've had somebody file a complaint on me because I slipped up and said that this particular apartment at this time we're not doing Section 8, and that was right. Not right to say. So she was able to go down there and complain about that. So there are avenues for those people, and that's why I said a fool can put their coat on better than a wise man could do it for them.
But those people know it, and this is why I'm saying to you that when a person has someone who can guide them, right? Because that person know it, right?
So Rob, how many people? Real quick, how many people do you think need people to guide them?
A lot of people. Everybody needs somebody to guide them. So you need somebody to guide you. What do you mean?
But guess what?
You have guidance in a different way. See, the thing is, right? You just don't realize your guidance comes in a different way because your guidance comes from books.
No, but not necessarily just that. It comes from life itself.
But it's still the same guidance, though. If those people that you looked up to, right? If those people that you and I talk about in the back channel, if those people didn't exist, if those people didn't write books, if those people didn't do podcasts and things like that, you wouldn't have the mentality that you have now. The only difference is that you're looking at it differently, right? What I'm not telling you to have somebody hold your hand, right? You're smart enough to listen to what they're saying. And if they're talking for an hour, you may be able to pull 15 minutes out of what they're talking about and apply it to your life, right? I'm saying to you that there are people that need this, not because they're mentally handicapped or anything like that, but just because sometimes people need guidance. There are people that get overwhelmed. There are people that have anxiety. There are people who will just make the wrong decision, not based on the information that they have or don't have, because people that they trust give them misinformation.
I don't think we need to adjust. I don't think we need to adjust society for those few people. That's what I'm saying. Let the society go. Those few people will figure it out. I don't think we should adjust the whole society for those few people to have those issues. That's my thing. I don't think we should change everything just for those few people. Just for that lady you're talking about, who could have clearly she didn't know, but she could have went to a lawyer, and the lawyer would have ate that up all the way. They would have ripped the landlord, especially if they realized the landlord got money.
But what does the lawyer need? Most lawyers need what?
Well, you come to a lawyer like that, or go to court. You don't even need to go to a lawyer for a situation like that. You go to court. I think it's the civil unit. The civil unit would have ate that up, Rob.
Let me ask you. Right.
You know that?
So
come on.
You see how quick you came up with that, right?
Right.
Only the problem is, I just said to you that this lady is a migrant and or an illegal immigrant, right? Where the landlord knows this, right? So here's the thing. When you say things like this, right, it makes me wonder how attached you are to society, or if you know that there's a society outside of where you live, right? Out of your ecosystem, you have to understand there are people that are navigating this world the best way that they know how to. So just like a man can go into the room of a little girl and tell her that when he touches her, right, the reason why she shouldn't say anything is because her family's going to be mad at her, or, you know, she's going to get arrested, or they're going to take her from her family. You and I know that that's not the case, right? And I can easily go, well, that's stupid. Like, all you had to do was just go tell somebody. But when somebody is able to manipulate you in your situation and take advantage of you, right, it's hard for me to sit back and tell you that you're wrong for doing what you didn't do. Because, again, as a migrant, nobody wants to go to court, because in their mind, the minute I enter this government building, I'm getting deported.
Well, look, real quick, all the examples that you're talking about are people who don't speak English, migrants. So it's very hard. And then you gave me an example of a retard.
Nobody
so
said that.
I don't
nobody
have.
Said
I
that
don't
the
know.
migrant didn't speak English.
Okay, so all of these
you
people.
don't have to not speak English to be ignorant to the fact that
what I'm
a
saying
person
is
doesn't want to have
it is,
interactions with law enforcement.
Right. Whatever it is you're advocating, yeah, just make it for those few people then. The whole world doesn't need, the government doesn't need to get involved in all of this other stuff. That's what I'm saying. They'll figure it out. Like there's, like you said, that person, the first individual could have got a lawyer. But remember, the first individual wasn't smart enough to get a lawyer. So she didn't know that she was being coerced into sex. So that first individual was the migrant, or was that the migrant? Like which one was the migrant person that this didn't know anything, couldn't figure none of this shit out?
They could fit all categories. And the whole purpose of this was to not judge anybody because we don't know anybody's situation. So what you're saying is easy. It's easy to you, Ronald.
Well, yeah.
But it's not easy to everybody else.
Well, fair enough. But I feel comfortable judging the situation though, because I find too many people that don't want to judge a situation that are nihilistic. They just believe in whatever goes, whatever. They believe in whatever. So I'm very careful about that. I'm very careful about that. Just like I said, I believe that I'm better than people at certain things. I believe I'm a better person than people. And they say, oh, no, there's a bunch. I can name a bunch of people real easy that I'm better than. So yeah, I believe in being better than people. And it's not to the craziest degree.
Well, you should have confidence in yourself, right? But not to the point where you're narcissistic, right? Thinking that I'm better as far as my skill level is one thing, but thinking I'm better than you as a person.
Yeah, right. Real quick, I can name a bunch of scumbags in jail right now for the most heinous crimes that I can sit here and tell you up and down I'm better than that person.
And they don't got to be in jail. They could have been. They used to be in jail too.
And they could not be in jail at all. And Rob, check this out. They could not be in jail at all. And I bet you know people that you're better than.
If you make bomb threats, don't make bomb threats. Don't do that,
bro.
What? You
Bro,
can't
listen to me.
That's bad. That's like yelling out fire in a movie theater. You can't make a bomb threat. That's crazy. You don't think so? That's weird. Like if you calling a bomb threat, that's weird. No. That's creating a hostile situation and putting people's lives in danger because that could have caused a stampede.
Right. But here's what I'm saying.
Right.
Here's what I'm saying. Do we?
You shouldn't make bomb threats.
Of course not. Now, do you? Now, do you?
And
need,
I don't. And see. And hold on. Look,
hear me out. No.
I don't judge anybody that make bomb threats.
I do. I will because hear me out. Does that individual need to have a government come and oh, that's different.
Yes.
Change the subject, bro. You crazy.
Yes. That person needs to be monitored at all points in time. What do you mean?
But look, listen. Back to the.
He didn't even have access to a cell phone.
Listen. Back to the landlords with the coercion.
Hold on, wait, hold on. You know that if you hack into some shit, right? You know if you do like a computer crime, they take your computer from you. You're not allowed to use a computer, right? When you do dumb shit, like they should take your access from phones. Like you shouldn't have a phone. You shouldn't be able to touch anything electronic.
Hey,
you should have to write a letter.
Hold on. I'm about to get you hung up in your own stuff now. To your point, you're not judging that person. You're looking. Hold on. Let me go. Hold on. Give me 3 seconds. 4 seconds. You want to look at the pathology of why he might have did something like this, or she might have did something like this. Why is it possible that he would or she would do something like this based on their upbringing? Right. We don't know. We don't know.
Let's say
they. So we don't know. See, there's your way. You're like, we don't know what they did. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how you look at it.
You're saying we should look at the pathology of why someone would call in a bomb threat to any establishment.
I'm saying that person knows better. I'm saying that person knows better.
I can't think of any way to deal with that. Like, there's no scenario that I could give you where I could be like, yeah, that makes sense.
But what I'm saying, okay, now, when it comes to
I'm not judging, though.
Are you a better decision maker than that person? Would you say?
Oh, hell yeah.
There you go. And I'm not trying to say better as I'm not trying to say better in the way of people think it. It's like, no, I'm not trying to take that type of better. No,
I'm better. I'm better in every way, shape, or form. I'm better. Every way, shape, or form.
So see, all right. 100%. So then, oh man, 100%. Oh man,
yeah, 100%, 100%. 100%.
He said 100%. That's it.
100%. We're miles of fucking ahead of that person. Miles.
Oh boy.
Like I would consider it disrespectful if somebody was to compare the two. Like I'm that far ahead. What was that rap song that he said? I'm so far ahead, I'm lapping myself. Like, nah, we
Speaking
can't. Don't never compare.
Speaking
Never,
of rap,
never.
speaking of rap, let's just change this. Let's just change this and move
Let's
this
move
wrong.
on.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
you said rap. So what's okay? This.
You know, Fabulous got a mixtape called Bomb, BOMB.
How long ago was that?
It was a while ago, but it stands for something. Like each letter stands for something.
Oh, okay. It's like
because
acronym.
you know he's lyrical, so you know
Right,
it's right.
So
I'll forward it.
Let's get into this. Let's get into this. This is a little bit more what people are talking about now, and let's get with the kid, the college kid, and his girlfriend. What is the deal with that? I think his name Travis Hunter, right? And everybody's interested in his girlfriend. And I think I told you the other day off camera when I've looked into it, because I'm like, I got to get on here and I got to talk. When I looked into it.
Oh wait, quickly.
What's up?
Bomb stands for Back on My Bullshit. BOMBS. So, that's the name of the song. Back on My Bullshit. So.
Blacks on their bullshit? What is it? It's
like back.
Blacks on their bullshit.
Back.
So, okay.
Back on my bullshit.
Back on my bullshit. But speaking of bullshit, this topic with Travis Hunter.
We'll move on.
So I actually saw and I looked into it. Just looked into who he was. So first thing I'm looking as an athlete, I'm looking at some of his highlights and I say, oh man, I haven't seen somebody jump that high for football in a long time. So I say, this kid is hella talent. Then I seen him dunking basketballs. I see that this kid is a really, really talented kid. And then you're telling me that the kid is actually an academic also. So
bro, he's an academic genius.
So what's the...
He's an academic genius.
So my thing is, why is this woman important, period? Why is she important, period?
Because
that's not our business. We as men, we are more into
drama.
Come on. Why are we into his woman,
drama.
period?
Our people love drama. We love the
I want to see this kid on the court. I want to see him playing. That's what I want to see. That's all I'm interested in seeing him play. Whether he's going to play wide receiver or cornerback at the next level. That's what I want to see. I can care less, and this is no disrespect because that's his fiance. But I'm not worried, and I don't care about what his fiance is doing or not doing or has done. That's not my issue. This kid can play. This kid can play. Most of the people that I saw talking stuff are not necessarily the people that I'm looking to get advice from when it comes to anything as far as females.
So I know that he was at Jackson State with Deion, and when his coach left and went to Colorado, he went with him, right? Mm-hmm. So a couple of things about this kid kind of stands out to me, which is that he makes good decisions, right? He realized that he had a coach that was valuable, and he stuck with it, right? What I also liked about him is that, and I think people spoke more about his girlfriend than the fact that this kid just won the Heisman, right? So out of all of these college students or athletes, he basically ranks at the top because this is like the supreme award,
right? Heisman Trophy winner
for this college athlete, right?
Absolutely.
We got so caught up in the drama of it, right? We didn't give Deion his credit, right? Of being basically a new coach, right? Leaving from that Jackson State, going to Colorado, and having one of his athletes be a Heisman Trophy winner, right? So take away all of Deion's accomplishments, right? As a coach, look what he's done. Because there's a lot of people who have been coaching in the
right. Well, I mean, I understand the I understand the Deion situation. No, I want to get more into what is the fascination about this kid's girl? That's what I'm. That's what I'm
saying. I don't know, because look at all the things that we could have been focused on more.
Right.
Right. Look at Deion. Look at what Deion has accomplished in such a short span of time. Where you have coaches like the coach for Rutgers. He's getting paid way more than Deion, right? And I don't think he's ever had a Heisman Trophy athlete, right? So when we talk about the things that we've accomplished, we kind of always overlook those things because we're looking at the negative. I personally don't know anything about this kid and his girlfriend, right? I don't know what their relationship is like other than what we've seen or what has been portrayed on
I don't know anything.
Social media.
I don't know anything. I really don't know anything. I've seen the memes. I've just heard people talking.
And that's it.
I just don't. I've actually seen videos where it's him and his girlfriend sitting next to each other, and all I had to do is just swipe by it, and it'll play. And I can just care less.
I want to say that the kid is in his 20s.
Okay.
Right? Let's say the kid is probably in his early 20s.
Yeah,
right?
Heisman Trophy winner, yeah.
Okay. So how many people were in relationships in their early 20s that they were looking for to last forever. So even if right now this is one of those situations where he has a girlfriend and it's a temporary situation, right? Can you remember at that age, were you with your wife then?
Yeah, I was.
At 20?
Yeah,
at 20?
Real early. No, 22 actually, 22.
Again, so in your early 20s, you weren't with your wife then, right? So if somebody was to judge your relationship then and be like, oh my God, well, this ain't the girl he's going to spend the rest of his life with. Like, why are we projecting that on him? This a kid, he's in a relationship, and now he's basically getting the hang of everything, right? He's getting the hang of being this new celebrity, being this Heisman Trophy winner. And instead of us focusing on the good things about him, we're trying to find the negative things about him, such as his girlfriend. We're trying to figure out and say like, oh, she's not for you. Then you got some people, I think they were trying to say that she was Caucasian, so it's a possibility she's using him. Then they were making references to Russell Wilson.
Who are these people? What color were these people's skin?
That doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't matter because you know it's a point I'm about to make. It doesn't. Yo, look, you take a drink. KFC, you get your, you know what I'm saying? KFC. Yo, that's my point now. I'm gonna make sure this one gets for real. Who were the people? Let's say I'm looking into the camera now. Who were the people that were making fun of Travis Hunter and his girlfriend? What were their nationalities?
I believe it was a.
Put it in the comment section.
It was a mixture of nationalities.
Oh, so it was a mixture. It was a mixture.
I don't know.
But what culture? What culture? This is straight up black culture. This is black culture. And hey, look, this is what we found more interesting in. His girlfriend instead of his athletic prowess. I would have purposely interviewed the kid and never talked about his girlfriend and only talked about his athletic prowess and how good he is as an athlete and his upbringing, things of that nature. I wouldn't have to mention his wife.
Well, again, I mean, I think it goes back to what we talked about, right? Which is that people are more with people having a microphone, they're more than likely to they show their intelligence in a lot of ways or their lack thereof. So like you said, we bypass all of his accomplishments to focus on the negative, right? And I hate to call it the negative, and I'm only saying negative because people have made it into a negative. But I don't think his girlfriend or his soon-to-be wife, his fiance, is a negative. If he likes it, I love it. I mean, it don't affect me in any way, shape, or form. And it does seem to have affected him in a negative way because he ended up winning the Heisman with her, right? So his accomplishments haven't diminished in any way, shape, or form. Why people feel like, I guess my biggest question is, how do people feel like they know this kid from him being on the football field? Like, how do you know him enough to say that this girl isn't for him? Know him.
You had celebrities. Yeah, celebrities coming out saying stuff. Like, I'm like, what is going on here? Like I said, I didn't hear none of it, but I get the gist of it. And so, she did a rap video with this guy. Yeah, she did. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Does anybody see how high this kid could jump? Did you ever see it? Yo, when you get a chance, just look at one little highlight and you see what I'm talking about.
Why don't you pull it up?
Because I gotta reach all the way up. I gotta reach all the way on the screen.
You got long arms, don't worry about it. You got long arms.
I'll work on it. Keep the conversation going. I'll work on it. I'll get it set up.
I don't understand how his personal life affects anybody. Especially not in the sense where we have now made it the topic of conversation or we've not decided that we know what's best for him. When honestly, prior to this, I don't think anybody, my mic fell. I don't think prior to this, anybody really knew who this kid was, right? And a lot of these people who are jumping on the bandwagon as far as having an opinion are people who just discovered who this kid was a couple of weeks ago. They weren't following his career from high school or following him from Jackson State. So a lot of these people are just kind of offering opinions on this now because, again, it's the hot topic. Tomorrow, somebody else is going to do something, and that's going to be the hot topic. But
it's called publish or perish, man, in this type of industry. The people, and unfortunately, when it's like that, basically you put out content or you'll suck and you'll be, in no man's land and nobody will know you because you didn't talk that day. You got to talk every single day. So it's a publish or perish thing. So that was something, the topic. So they jumped on it. Sort of like how we jumping on it now, but not really like, in a different way. So I'm going to show you a couple of these dudes' highlights. I don't want to go crazy, but for me, the biggest thing is how high this kid jumps, man. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to show you everything. Let me just go ahead and share this part of the screen with you. And I'm like, man, this to me is what's exciting about him. It's a window. Boom, you got me maneuvering now, boy. I know how to get it all going. There you go. So look, this is the ball in the air. Watch how he high points this, Rob. Like that's just from that
in between
angle.
two defenders.
Look at this. Look at that.
In between two defenders.
Look where his feet is, bro.
Above their knees while they're jumping.
Bro, look at that. That's like Michael Jordan playing football. Yeah.
On him.
And then he plays defense too.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the stuff that's interesting about it.
That's important.
Yeah. Who his girl is, man. That's his girl. No disrespect to his girl or his fiance. Hey, but this kid is amazing.
Out of there.
Yeah.
Speed is on 1,000,000.
Come on, man.
So I'm gonna tell you who this kid reminds me of, right?
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of a modern day Ricky Williams. Not because of the position or anything. I'm just saying, like, the way he carries himself, how he's like, you remember how Ricky was like, he wasn't he didn't talk a lot. Right. And then you found out that he had like, all, this crazy ass anxiety and all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this kid reminds me of him. Like, he's not interested in anything except football. Like, all he wants to do is play football. And he's like crazy good at it.
Ridiculous.
But I think the other thing is, though, do you know that he's not like a typical athlete, or one that we would consider like one of our typical athletes? Like, I think his girlfriend introduced him to Lil Wayne recently, and that's who he listens to before the game starts, he said.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that he's like, for lack of a better word, like he's like a nerd.
Okay.
The kid got a degree in anthropology.
Okay.
He has a degree in anthropology. Like, how many people? First of all, does anybody know what anthropologists do?
It's slipping my mind right now. It's a study of.
That's what I'm saying. You see, like, it's not even something that's common. Like, who would have thought that? Because most people in his demographic would have gotten a degree in communications, or they would have got a degree in, what do you call that? Like sports management or something.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid got a 4.0 grade point average and dominated college.
Yeah, what's crazy? I'm not even interested in none of that. I just like what I see on a football field, and I can't wait to pick him up on my fantasy football team. Like, it's one of those things. That's the most important.
You ain't gonna be the only person though.
Yeah, I don't care about his girl. I don't care about none of that stuff. I just care about what he produced on the football field, and what he puts on the football field. From what I can see, the kid's amazing. That's obvious.
I'm gonna tell you that I would love to see more people kind of idolize that kid, right? Because I think if more of our student athletes were to take his route, we would see more students within the athlete and not the other way around. I think we focus so much on the athletic portion of it that sometimes they forget that they need to be students too. So for him to have that 4.0, for him to be into anthropology, I think, is amazing. But I think he's smart enough to know that anything can happen as far as his athletic ability. But as far as his studies and being able to provide for himself later on in life, after all that is done, he still has the ability to do something outside of sports. So I would love to see what happens. And speaking of the guidance that we were talking about, I hope that like a Magic Johnson or a Shaquille O'Neal, and those people that LeBron James, those people that had the ability to take their money and make it work for them, are able to guide him in a way where we don't hear about him being broke 5 years from now, or 5 years after his career is over, he's mismanaged his money somehow. These guys can come.
He doesn't look like one of those guys.
And I hope not, but I'm just saying, I hope that these guys can kind of mentor him to the point where it doesn't happen, because I love seeing where those three guys that I mentioned, I love seeing where they are now from a business standpoint, because I know people used to look at them as if they were just dumb jocks. And I know even with LeBron being where he is, people just kind of looked at him and they're always judging him. But to see that man's money is working for him and he's already setting himself up for retirement, I think is amazing. And to just have a mentor, somebody that you can kind of talk to or look up to, and them help you get through or get to where you're trying to go to, I think is great. As long as he's willing to listen and they're willing to teach.
Yeah, but from based on what you're talking about him, why would he want to listen to those? I mean, granted they did it already, but it doesn't seem like he's based on what you're saying, like he didn't know Lil Wayne until recent. I mean, he probably knows LeBron, but he might not be into the same things that those black entertainers are into. He might not be into the same stuff. So it might be somebody else that's a better mentor for him.
Well, when you say into the same stuff, what do you mean? Like, because they're into money. Like, between Shaq owning all of those restaurants, Magic Johnson owning all of the movie theaters and restaurants that he owns, with all of the investments. And I guess I'm just saying that, when you hear about these athletes and some of the things that they get caught up in.
You're talking about their business ventures. We're not talking about them with women.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
No,
them with women.
No. I ain't saying nothing about women. I'm talking about business. I'm saying for him to set himself up financially and get a mentor like these guys who can take him to a better place, as opposed to these other athletes that get, caught up in Ponzi schemes and get rich quick schemes, to get with these guys who can kind of, mentor you on a different level and get you, so that you're not another broke athlete at the end of the day.
For some reason, I feel like the best people, this is just me thinking and guessing, because I can be way off here, but it seems like the best athletes to possibly get that business information from are the ones we don't even know.
Like who?
I'm just guessing. Like, I'm just thinking for myself, right? I'm thinking for myself. Like, and this is a big time hypothetical. Say you come from a family of real estate investors and stuff, and you're on the back end of a bench somewhere on an NBA bench or NFL team, and all you're doing is just investing all of the money you make into real estate, and it's making money for you, giving you cash flow, and it's just compounding. The more and more you play, you put in more money towards the real. There are guys who've done that type of stuff, I believe. Some guys who didn't even spend like a majority of their NFL check in their money. I'm just saying that maybe it might not necessarily be one of the illustrious names that we know. It can possibly be somebody else that'd be a great mentor on the low.
And I mean, it could possibly be, like I said, I'm just using what is commonly known to the public and what these guys have accomplished. So for me, when, we talk about success and what these guys have accomplished, I just think about how people looked at them prior to, right? So how Magic Johnson was looked at is almost, I guess because of how he spoke, he had like a country drawl or something, or some type of twang, and people just automatically assumed that he wasn't smart. Shaquille O'Neal, people just assumed that he was big and dumb. LeBron James, because of the people that he brought in with him who didn't have necessarily experience in the field, but he trusted them enough to kind of learn it and get him to where he is. I'm just saying, it doesn't have to necessarily be them, but just to put himself in a situation and using them as an example to say, hey, get mentored and don't find yourself broke a year from now or a year after you
I'm just
your career's over.
When you told me that,
or having to be on the bench when your career's over because you just need the money now.
One thing that I like him even more now when you said he just found out who Lil Wayne was. I'm like, okay, good. So he don't. Yeah, I like him even more now because I feel about the culture. It's terrible. So
you love it. You love it.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Black culture is like porn. You only need a little bit of it. You don't need a lot. Just get in and get out. Yeah. It's terrible, bro. Terrible.
Whoa, you gonna have to help me on this one. Go ahead. Let me hear this.
Meaning,
black culture is like pornography.
Yeah, it's art. It's art, but it's not something that you can take into real life and actually use it. It's art. It's art. It's candy. It's sweets. You know, even when people used to tell me that all of these guys were intellects back in the day, and the Tupacs, the Biggies, and Jay-Z's, and all that, I wasn't into none of them. Like, I just wasn't into none of them. Even when it came to Lil Wayne, I wasn't really into none of it. That's why when you said that he just got introduced to Lil Wayne, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is my type of black guy right here. I like him. This is my type of black guy here. Like, I'm not for the culture like that. But this sounds like my type of black guy. I want success for him, and he got a white woman too. Smart. It's like. Yo, he did it the right way. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Who you want to see him up there with? Come on, man. You did good, bro. I like the kid. Travis Hunter. Hold on one second.
Hold on.
He said, I gotta go.
Black women. That's this guy's opinion on it. I love black women. No, my man, don't even cut in here now.
You see, I got really into this now. Hold up.
I think he should have been up there with a strong Nubian princess. And Ronald's thoughts and whatever liquor he over there drinking is on him and that liquor company. I'm over here drinking
something simple. Yo. KFC, bro. Everybody's getting KFC's at 1,800, bro. It's 1,000 subscribers now, so you never know. The what you call is coming around the corner. Like, yo, you know what? Drink a little bit of this 1,800 every time you go on to what you call it.
KFC sponsor me.
KFC sponsor me.
Them nuggets are rocking. KFC,
ooh, bro. Anybody who thinks that KFC nuggets aren't on point like Chick-fil-A,
KFC's nuggets are rocking.
Somebody think I'm crazy. I remember we agreed on this, so this is something we agree on. Finally, we agree on something.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A has competition with KFC when they're chicken nuggets.
100%.
Them chicken
100%.
nuggets are fire, boy.
It's just rocking.
But yeah, back to what we said with Travis Hunter, man. Do your thing, man. I'm looking for you to do good. I want to pick you up on fantasy. Hope you play wide receiver, offense. And, man, congratulations on you and whatever, all the things you got going on with your fiance and the Heisman Trophy winner. He's going to be good. And I like the fact, like you said, he just learned about Lil Wayne. So he just now getting into this black culture stuff. You don't need it.
You have to do like Ronald and drink 1,800.
You don't need it. Oh, man. So, this is always a good conversation when Rob's on. He takes up most of the show. I don't really have to do much. That's what I like about it the most. Wow. That's what I love about it the most.
I haven't said much. I think the only time we talked is when we were talking about being back on our bullshit.
And you know what's crazy? Sometimes I speak to people and I do 98% of the talking. They're like, well, damn, bro. But Rob is always a good conversation to have. So I appreciate you joining me today. And
hold on, we're not done yet.
No,
we gotta talk about Jay-Z.
We're not done.
We gotta talk about Jay-Z.
We're not done. Let me just do another whatchamacallit real quick. Let me do another. I'm just gonna do another reset, and I'll just go ahead and end. 1, 2, 4, 5. All right, hold on.
You gotta get some more 1,800.
No. No more 18. I'm done. That's it. That was the rest from
yesterday. I was getting heavy. Your eyes getting heavy over there. So I know I'm like, oh, he about to start talking some bullshit.
We'll look. I was gonna ask you some creative stuff, but I say, let me just leave it alone. I don't know what the deal is. I asked somebody the other day because when it comes to biases, sometimes we don't always have time to be like.
What do you mean? What creative stuff?
Like these stuff. Like I'm about to ask you right now. So when it comes to biases, we don't always have to have time. Like we don't always have time. Like if 4 guys are walking down the street, and you're walking down on the other side, on the opposite end of them. When do you decide to cross the street?
Jesse number 2 or Jesse.
Like when do you decide to cross the street? So I was just thinking about different things. Like, if I take a white guy, a black guy, an Asian guy, white, black, Asian, Indian. I want white, black, Asian, Indian. And I was asking my brother. I was like, we have these cool conversations. We know who we are as people. So this is just something that's cool. White, black, Indian, Asian. White, black, Indian, Asian. Okay. Which one of those individuals are you? Man, I see. I'm wording this wrong. First of all, I said this one. I took it off. Take the street thing off out of the equation, right? Which one of those individuals you got 4 seconds So I want to see what your bias is. Who are you doing business with first? And who are you doing business with least? Go.
Wait, what?
Go.
No, wait. You got to answer the question. Wait, what's the question? You got to ask the question.
So what I'm doing is I'm testing your quick bias. Your quick bias.
Okay.
I understand that when given all the information, we'll make a better decision. I get that. But to make the conversation fun, I just like to see.
Right.
And people get mad at me. I just want to see what your bias look like. White, black, Indian, Asian. You got 7 seconds. Who you doing business with? Go.
What kind of business though?
Business, any business. Who you doing business with? Go. You can.
Black.
There you go.
Black.
Okay, that's all. There you go. That's great. That was great because when it came down to it, in a quick decision like that, my answer was black also. And what is your reasoning behind that? Your quick bias, your quick reasoning. What's your reasoning behind that?
Why would I want to do business with it? Because I feel like our money should circulate in our community, just like their money circulates in theirs.
Okay, my reasoning was a little different. I understand black nuance. I don't understand the others, like Indian, white. Who was that? Indian, white. That was it, right? Indian, white, and I thought it had something else, but it's black, white, Indian. I don't understand those other cultures like that. I understand the black culture right away. So now, mind you, you're a prize fighter, and you got these fighters. You got a black, Indian, white, and a Jew fighter. Which one would you think, without seeing them, 5 seconds, which one are you worried most about?
What?
I'm just thinking, who do you think is more scary? You got 5 seconds. Who's more scary?
How would I know that? Just
They're
by
all
you
the
saying
same.
they're black,
They're
Indian,
all
or white? How would I know?
Black, Indian, white, and a Jew. They all the same size. Who are you more scared of? Who are you more worried about? Who do you think I'd be worried about the most?
The Indian? I don't know.
Okay, why? What's that quick justification of why?
Why would I be more?
Okay, better yet.
Because of his hardship.
Okay, because of his hardship. That's a good one. But better yet, take the business scenario. Who would you be least likely to do business with? You said black would be the one you're most likely to do business with. If you had 7 seconds to just quickly.
And what's my options?
Yeah, what is your options? Because I want to understand what your bias is.
No, I'm saying, what's my option? You said black.
Black, white, Indian, Jew.
What?
Yeah.
You said black, white, Indian, or Jew?
Who you doing business with? You got 7 seconds.
But wouldn't the
who you
Jewish
not
man be
doing
white
business?
too?
Yeah, you're right. So no. Leave the Jew there for the
Bro,
business question. Hear me out.
Leave the liquor alone,
Hear me
man.
out. Hear me out what I'm saying. You got 8 seconds. Who are you not doing business with? Black, white, Indian, Jew. Go. Come on, Rob.
Wouldn't you mean Asian?
Asian. There you go. Asian. Black,
Right.
white,
Okay.
Indian, Asian. There you go. Who you not doing business with? 7 seconds.
Asian.
Okay. Now this is, mind you, this is because we're just doing quick bias. It's not about this is what he would really do. This is using your system one. Now, explain to me why quickly, like not quickly, but why you come up with that assessment. Why not the Asian?
Because of where I grew up and how the Asians in the community have treated the people in my community. So as far as the stores that they open, how like their customer service or lack thereof, I guess because they had to learn how to deal with people. They're very aggressive in our area as opposed to anybody else who opens stores, where they're inviting or they use their customer service. It's almost like these Asian stores, they have this mentality or they behave as if you have to come in. So when you go in, there's no customer service. There's no, there's bulletproof glass. Just hurry up, kind of just buy what you want to get out. And we don't want you around here. And everybody's treated like that. So it's not like if you walk in, they're like, oh, I haven't seen Ronald hanging out there before. They're going to treat Ronald the same way that they treat everybody. So that would be my own reason.
Who I'm not doing business with, I'm not doing business with the black guy. I'm not doing business with the black guy. And I'm not, that doesn't mean I'm comfortable doing business with the rest of the guys neither. Nah. It's just that what I'm trying to.
Why aren't you doing business with the black guy?
Because here's my problem. I feel like the black guy is going to come with the least amount of pathology, the least amount of explanation towards the business plan and the business model, and the least amount of empirical evidence. That's this, mind you. Now look, Rob, upon knowing the information and getting different information, then yeah, my mind will be different. I'm going to go with the best candidate. But this is just knee-jerk reaction because sometimes you don't always have the time to decipher through your biases. So yeah, I would say I'm not doing business with the black guy. So the guy I would do business with is the black guy, and the guy I wouldn't do business with is the black guy. You know, I can be certain of those two things. And because I feel like I know the people, I know my people, let me say. I know my people more than anybody else. So I would go ahead and feel comfortable and not comfortable doing business with in both situations. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things I just think about, man, because sometimes we talk about bias and we talk about having and making the best rational decision, but we don't have the time to make those decisions sometimes. It has to be done quickly, you know? It has to be done. You have to make that assessment quickly. When you're walking down the street at night and you see 3 guys coming to you, you know, you just make your assessment quickly. Let me cross the street and buy myself some time and some space from these individuals. Right? Depending on what town you're in, you got to know. Let me get some space from these individuals.
Well, I don't think it depends on any town. I mean, I think growing up in urban areas, it gives you a different outlook on anything. So I think you walking up and seeing those guys, regardless of where you're from or where you're at the time, you're going to cross the street because your situational awareness is going to kind of kick in to where you realize, like, if these guys surround me or if I find myself in the middle of them and they do intend to do me harm, you know, it's not a good situation to be in. So I don't think it would matter if I was in Beverly Hills and I saw that. I would either, you know, make way or cross the street just because I think we're all at the point in our lives where we know that it has nothing to do with being a tough guy. Like, I think we've passed that point in our lives where we need to be tough.
Well, yeah, that
prove
tough.
to anybody that we're tough.
I actually took the tough guy scenario, and I go the opposite. I'm not a tough guy whatsoever. I don't want to be considered a tough guy. I don't want no beef. I don't want to fight. I don't want you touching me. Yeah, first of all, like, fighting to me is like the most nastiest thing you can do, unless it's organized. If it's organized fighting, yeah, we can set it up in a ring. Then yeah, I find that fun. But street fighting, nah, I'm good. There's no rules. I don't want a street fight. I don't want to do none of that stuff. I am out. No, I'm out. Somebody want to start a ruckus, I'm going the other way. Somebody want to fight, I'm going the other way. The big fight, big crowd, I'm going the other way.
It's unfortunate because we still have people who are our age or even older where they still have this mentality that they have to prove that they're tough guys, or they're still talking to these young boys as if, like,
bro,
age and time isn't a factor anymore.
You're over 40 years old. Nobody believes you're tough. Nobody believes you're tough.
Nobody, you know what
nobody's going to believe you're tough.
It's the stories that they tell, right? Because remember, everybody's story, they a killer and they beat up everybody and they was in that group and, you know, it was 9 people swinging and they knocked everybody out with one punch.
Well, my story is not like that. My story is all about surviving the hood and surviving the blackness. And the way I did that was not by being tough. It's not by being tough. It's by being a chameleon.
Bro, what the fuck is surviving the blackness?
Surviving the blackness.
What the hell are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm glad you're able to appreciate that. I'm glad. Yeah.
Surviving the blackness.
Surviving the blackness, man. Surviving the blackness. Like, bruh. I was not. It wasn't like I wasn't into the black culture. I knew the black culture was like iced tea. It's
Weren't
like
you
sweets.
Like a Lil Wayne fan back in the day?
It's like sweets. Not.
Weren't you like a tall ass Lil Wayne back in the day?
No. Not majorly, like a majorly fan. I couldn't really listen to rap music like that freely in my household. Like, growing up, it wasn't like a thing that we were doing.
Talking about
freely.
When you got older.
When I got older, you know, I was a little bit into everything. But I liked reggae. I liked Maxwell and stuff like that. I'm more into like soft shit. I'm not really into the hard stuff and stuff like that. I wasn't really into that. Like, Jay-Z to me is overrated. Tupac and Biggie, all of those guys are just regular guys to me. That's just my opinion because I'm not into black stuff like that. That's why I like this kid Travis Hunter, because it seems like, you know, he just finally figured out who Lil Wayne is. So, like I said, I'm really into this Travis Hunter story. But back to what I was saying about being a tough guy and all that stuff. Yeah, I threw that away a while ago. I am not a tough guy. Hell no. Now, what I am is resilient, and I have toughness when it comes towards things that are important, like finances and being able to sit still for a while and create a budget and stay still in that budget and stay true to that budget. Be tunnel vision. That's where I'm tough at that. But when it comes to fighting another man and scrapping with him and wrestling with him and getting my face scratched up, my hair pulled, we tussling and that to me sounds like, who wants to do that shit? I am not, bro, unless it is an organized fight, I don't want to fight for shit at all. I don't want none of that shit. None of it. None of it, bro. I'll walk away from the smallest dude. I do not want to exert no energy towards another man, period.
I think I've gotten to that point. Like I will say that I used to let people kind of get under my skin, or got to a point where I would allow my anger to get the best of me. But like I said, even when we first started this and we talked about just Christmas, right, and how Christmas was spent, it's like you achieve certain things and you no longer want to be a part of that foolishness, right? So for me, I don't want to be a part of.
Right, nice.
I don't want nothing to take me away from what I have now, right? And what I have now, I value it so much that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to maintain it, as opposed to something taking me away from it. So have I gotten to a point where I've been angry? Yes, but not angry enough to where it would make sense for me to be locked up and taken away from everything that I've prayed for and gotten.
You know what I do? I just walk away. And let me tell you why it's easy to walk away for me. I've seen people that are bigger than me, and I'm not the biggest dude in the world. I'm a short king. I've seen guys bigger than me, cocky, guys big, and they get the same type of treatment I get. And it made me say to myself, like, oh, people be sizing you up too? Like, and my boy said, yeah, man, that bullshit, bro. He calling himself for that. I'm like, oh, and in my head, I'm like, okay. Because like misery loves company. I'm like, but what happens is I see the same thing happening to other people. And it doesn't trigger me or get me upset anymore, to a point where I'm.
Well,
I wasn't going to do anything anyway. But it always made me think, like, well, why the person sizing me up, bro? I'm this. But then when I see that this is something that the person does, I didn't take it personal. Yep. I'm like, oh, this is a thing.
There's no need. But you know what it is? People are always looking for some type of come up, right? And you got to, I guess, take it as like a badge of honor that a person thinks that you're that come up, right? Like you want to make a name off of yourself from me, right? Mm-hmm. The unfortunate part, or the part that I like, is that I don't even give it any energy, right? Like I may joke about it with you and all that other stuff, right? But a lot of these dudes, you don't even give them energy, because the thing is that you need me to be relevant, right? If I'm not, here's the thing, if I'm not in your story, you can't be relevant. You have to use my name to be relevant. So when I look at it like that, right, I just think about how important I have to be for you to need my name, right? Because people that I don't like, or people I don't associate with, I shouldn't have to talk about you, right? Or if you're not the topic of my conversation and I still can't be relevant, then something is wrong. Unfortunately, a lot of these people need you in order for them to feel good about themselves. So they need to be able to get into a group with their friends and be like, yo, we hate Ronald. Don't you hate Ronald? Bro, and then all of the little cackling hens go, to me, I actually think, this is going to sound crazy. And this is for anybody that wants to get out there and do podcasts and stuff like that. This is crazy. I'm about to say this. I actually think that there is nobody that can sit here and tell me that they have something against me or they don't like me and articulate it. Because guess what? I will be into that conversation 100%. I've always asked and embraced it because once again, hold on, Rob. Once again. Hold on, let me call right here.
But look, once again, I am not, look at this guy. Look, I am not a tough guy. See? I am not a tough guy. But one thing I will do, I will always possibly have something to say. Right. Me and Raheem are the best of boys, bro. You kidding me?
Now?
But look, let me tell you.
You said, can he come on the podcast and tell why he don't like you? I ain't say y'all wasn't cool now, but there was a particular point in time where if we asked him, Raheem would have been like, yo, Ron can go to hell.
But here's the thing.
Yes or no?
But here's the thing. It would be probably more. No, I don't know the answer to that question. But even if, look, real quick, yes or no, it'd be probably more and 90% of a misunderstanding than it is an understanding where we had the conversation. It's like, yeah, I just don't like this dude. There is no way. There's no way. I would say,
keep in mind though, so if we're talking about you and another male having a misunderstanding or disagreement, that's something different. If you're talking about a person who has a penis while acting like a female, now we're talking about something completely different, right? So you will have people who have a problem with you, but the thing is, they'll never confront you about it. You know why? Because all they have is that penis. You're not a man. You can't articulate your problem because this is the only thing that they know, right? Either they're gonna argue or gossip. There's no in between. they're not man enough to come to you and say, I have a problem with you. Because like you said, first of all, we don't have a problem. Because if they did come to you and say, Ronald, we have a problem, what they're going to be reminded of is we can't have a problem. First of all, in order for me and you to have a problem, right, we have to be on some type of even keel. Like, we got to be on the same platform. If I got to look down to have this conversation, we don't have a problem. You have to find your way up here to where I'm at.
Whoa,
first.
Rob,
We don't have a problem.
Rob, where'd you?
We never have a fucking
hold
problem.
Hold on. See, Rob talking this, man, and I get what he's saying. But look, my thing is, like I said, I am not a tough guy. That's the thing. I am not a tough guy.
Do you like everything that the president does? This is just a random question. Do you like everything that the president does? Do you agree with everything that the president does?
Okay, do I agree? I would say I would. But the law of averages, I would say no. I don't agree with everything he does. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? Can you go to the president and say to him, I have a problem with, or any one of those things that you have an issue with? Can you go to him right now to voice that?
Rob, no.
I'm asking you a question.
No, I probably can't.
Why?
It wouldn't get to him.
You know why though? You said what?
It wouldn't get to him. It wouldn't get up to him. It wouldn't even get
sometimes
up to him.
Sometimes we have to understand where we are in the ecosystem, right? So when a turtle has a problem with the giraffe, the turtle just got to put that shit in his pocket and live with it, right?
Damn.
You're never gonna make your way up here to tell me, right? Because your problem down there doesn't affect me up here, right?
You know what's crazy?
So,
hey, I'm not crazy. I can't refute that. I can't refute it because I've asked a lot of people to come on here and just let me know what they, let me know what their opinion, what they think.
To those of you who claim to have a problem with me, right? Your problem, just like your herpes and the HIV, you got to live with that shit till you're dead because you can't do shit about it. You can't say nothing to me, right? Because again, in order for you to address me, you have to come up here, right? So, and if you start coming at me with the rah-rah shit, obviously I've already turned off. As a matter of fact, first of all, I didn't even hear you, right? Because we could be in the same room and I don't even see you, right? But what I'm trying to get people to realize is sometimes we take ourselves down here, right? Trying to figure out what the issue is down here when I'm up here for a reason. If you still got them problems down there, we don't have nothing to talk about. What are we talking about? We're talking about your 1994 accomplishment
look.
I'm just saying your issue from 1990 whatever.
Yeah,
you can't have a conversation like that.
No, we can't.
Because your issues are current, right?
Right.
So just like when we were just talking earlier, we were talking about the girl and the rent.
When this guy gets soup, bro, that's why I
remember
didn't
when we were
stop
talking
you.
about the girl and the rent?
Right, the dummy.
The reason why the reason why you don't understand the thing with the girl and the rent is because you have mortgage problems. It's hard for you to understand what the rent problem. And it's not to say that you're better than her, right? It's just that you're not in that mentally, you're not in that space to understand that. Right.
When I say better, I don't mean better in that situation. I mean certain ideologies. Yeah, I think my ideology is better than certain people.
But I'm saying, you're not
want
there
to rape
to
and do crazy shit like that.
Understand it because that's like a person complaining to you about what New Jersey Transit is doing. I hear you, right? But that's not my concern. Like I don't catch the bus. Right?
Hey, yo, this is why. Hey, hold on real quick. It's statements like that you've been saying for years.
But I don't catch the bus, so I don't know.
Hey, but Rob, listen to me. It's statements like that you've been saying for years that bother people. It never bothered me because I always thought it was funny. But it's statements like that, bro.
If a person tells you the bus seat is dirty, right? The only thing you can do is agree with them. Can you refute the fact that the bus seat is dirty?
I can listen, Rob. I can listen to them.
You can, right? But can you agree or disagree?
I can't do anything. I just don't know.
Because you don't know. You have car problems. You have car issues.
Yo, Rob.
So what I'm saying is that it's hard for a person to come to you with bus issues when you're in your car.
Well,
I can hear you. I can hear you out, right? But when I pull off from this conversation, I guarantee you nothing is going to come of it. Literally nothing. I can't do nothing. I don't work there. I don't know what to tell you to do after this.
Right.
So if you want to vent to me about your problem, right, that's fine. So it's almost like one of these nobodies coming and venting to me about why they don't like me. I'll listen to you. But after I pull off from here, right, it literally goes nowhere. You got to put that shit back in your pocket because guess what? You can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is you have to dislike me in secret or in your secret meeting.
And
you can't come to me and tell me that you don't like me.
And look, and Rob, and what I believe in, and that's the crazy thing. This is the real problem. I do believe in the freedom of speech, meaning, I mean, that does mean you can say anything you want. Yeah, you can say whatever you want, but there are consequences for what you say. I do believe that. Now, right?
100%.
But the freedom of speech part is where I'm staying. Is that what I say? If you put your hands on me, I'm telling you now, I'm calling the cops.
You're going to jail.
Yeah, you're going to jail. I'm not fighting. I'm not doing. Yeah, you're going to jail.
Because we're at a different level now.
You're going to jail.
I'm not rolling around on the floor with
you.
I'm
like?
not getting assaulted by you and then thinking that this is that we're gonna somehow we're gonna walk around now and we have beef. You're going to jail. Yeah, and I'm coming every court date.
Oh yeah, really?
First of all, to show you where I'm at now.
I'm coming every
as
court date.
far as my elevation, right? As soon as you put your hands on me, I'm hurt, right? And it's either gonna be my neck or my back, right? Because keep in mind, those are two things that if that's what you complain about, that's what it is. What in the hell?
Oh, somebody's birthday. Somebody's birthday.
All I'm saying is that when that happens, though,
wait, did somebody do that because they? This is just me getting soup.
I think that was me.
I think
I
damn.
did something with the.
Hey, look,
I think if you do this,
I was getting soup. Is somebody paying attention? I'm like, yo, somebody's paying attention.
You got to remember now, you got people that don't want to pay child support. Imagine you having to pay this grown man for sitting at home because I am going to say that you hurt me to the point where I can't go to work.
Right.
Right. And again, to show you the difference of where we are, right, is that when we go to court, right, I can show that you've affected my earnings or my future earnings.
Right. You know what?
Whereas if it was them, right, all we going to do is, they're gonna be like, Ronald, write him a check for however much it costs for him to go to the hospital and keep it moving.
You know what? I just thought about something. We need to create a society of like that more. Like, what is this fist scrapping and fist cuffing? We don't need to do all of those things. I said what I had to say. You said what you had to say. Now you feel like you want to put
already exists.
You want to put your hands on me. Now I'm just calling the cops.
No, that society exists. The thing is that and I blame us, right?
Oh, that's just our culture.
No, not our culture. It's our ecosystem. It's the people that we keep in our ecosystem. Right? A lot of times when we outgrow things, right? Like, I'll tell you this. When my wife and I moved in together, right? The hardest thing for me to do was to get rid of a lot of the things that I had, right? They didn't serve me any purpose. They just, I had them, right? And no matter how much she was trying to get me to understand, like, yo, you got to purge this stuff. You got to get rid of it, right? For me, it was like, this history, I remember this T-shirt, and I remember this, and I remember that, right? And it came to a point where she had kind of just given up on me getting rid of the stuff, and we put it in the garage. And it was like this big bag, this big old, like, construction garbage bag of T-shirts. And they ended up getting moldy, right? To the point that I couldn't do anything but throw them out. But after throwing them out, because I felt like emotionally, like, oh man, like I was down in the dump.
Okay.
But when I realized, like, bro, I didn't wear the shirts. Other than the memories that came along with it, it wasn't no need for it, right? And I started to attach that same mentality to people, right? Sometimes the people that you're around, like, you want to keep them around because we want to just say, like, oh, we've had friends forever, right? Or we've associated with people forever, but they serve their purpose. We're just latching on to these people, right? For whatever the reason, whether it's our own nostalgia, whether because we don't want to seem like we're not loyal or whatever the case is, right? But in doing so, think about this hill that you're trying to climb to success, right? And each time you let go of that dead weight, it allows you to climb faster, or it allows you to climb in general, right? But each time you attach dead weight to you, it leaves you in that spot, and then you're wondering why you're not going anywhere, right? It's because these people that you're supposed to let go of, you keep holding on to them, or they hold on to you because you may not talk to them for 6 months to a year. And then they hear like, yo, you heard Ronald bought this building over on Chancellor? Word. And then they pick up the phone. Why? Because you're the type of dude.
Grove Street. It's like, nah, right.
But you the dude that you don't change your number. So this person calls you and you answer, right? And while you're projecting this way, this person is trying to bring you back down this way, right? So they're not going to be like, yo, Ronald, I heard you bought the building. It's going to be like, hey, Ronald, You remember that time when I punched you in your face in school? What the fuck are you talking about right now? What?
No.
I'm over here trying to close on this building, and you talking about high school? What the fuck are we talking about?
Right.
So
Yeah.
when we do that, right? And it could be a person as close to you as you consider this person a brother, right? But the thing is, did they consider you a brother? And if they didn't, or if that's not, or if the relationship has just changed, right? Let's just agree to that and move the fuck on. But we don't have to keep revisiting this same. We keep beating this dead horse over and over and over again. Why do we keep talking about this?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not a road to my future, right? You're a road to something that I'm leaving from, and I'm not ashamed of where I came from, right? But I have no plans on going back there.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, we got to move on from it. So when you say like, oh, we got to hang around people with that mentality, we do. But the problem is, in order to get into that room with those people, we got to leave these other knuckleheads behind.
Yeah.
Because when you get into that new room, if you were to even mention one of these knuckleheads, they're going to put you back out of that room because it's almost like, nah, he ain't ready to be up here.
Yeah, we're not doing that over here. We're not doing that over here.
Yeah. So when, like, bro, have you ever been in a room where you just like, yo, this is where I should be? Like, these people, like, and it doesn't matter about their skin color or anything, right? It's just like, yo, this is, like, these people think like me, right? They have the same goals as me. Or I'm in a room full of people who have achieved more than me, right? And I aspire to be like these.
Here's the problem. Now, I don't want to take away from what you're saying, because the validity of what you're saying is 100% on point. But when it comes to me, I'm a little weird. Just because you have monetary success doesn't mean that we're necessarily like-minded people and could be in the same room. Because I noticed that a lot of people with the monetary, not a lot, but the people I know with the monetary success, some of the ones that I know, we are different in our heads and how we think. The money is probably one thing that's similar, but the way we think about people, individuals, are totally different.
Well, when I say success, I think money is not even. I wouldn't even say money is.
Just wanted to make that clear. Just wanted to make that clear for the audience. Like,
I don't think money is the majority of anything. When I say success, and success is different, right? Success could be your accomplishment. Success could be from an educational standpoint, right? I think the more diverse that your circle is, right? Just like any portfolio that you have, your circle has to be diverse, right? Mm-hmm. You have to be surrounded by different people who can stimulate you in different ways. So financially, is success a good thing? Yes, right? But I know people who are successful as far as education-wise. I know people who are successful in a sense of every dream that they've ever had, they've obtained it, right? I look at things like that. I look at people who they didn't allow their circumstances to dictate who they are or where they're going to go.
You know, success
so when
for
I speak on success, that's my version of success.
Right.
And being in a room of those people,
right,
to me is dope, because now, like I said, if I don't even feel like talking to Ronald today, right, there's another person in my cipher who is also successful in their own way,
right,
that I can talk to them and I can still be fulfilled.
Exactly. And
whereas I don't want to have the same conversation that I had when I was 14 or 15, right, on the phone with a person who we share the same
unknown caller.
And they on me today, but no, my
if we share the same gender, you know, I think our conversation should be a little bit different. So if back in the day, me and you used to be on the phone and we talked about girls all the time, right? Now that we're a little bit older, we may revisit it on some like, hey, did you see the girl in that music video? Or, hey, I walked past the girl and she looked good today. But the majority of our conversation can't be that, because that means we haven't matured or gotten past that aspect of our lives.
Right.
So for me, I'm looking at you now saying to me, yo, you know, I am looking at a building on Chancellor and I'm 2 days away, or Grove Street. I'm a couple of days away from accomplishing it. And this is what I'm trying to do. And I'm gonna hire some people, or, you know, a company that hires minorities. And now we have that type of conversation where I could say, yo, I know a couple of dudes who do general contracting. I could probably hook you up with that. And now we're having grown man conversation. I don't want to have a conversation with you about girls.
Hey Rob, you took all my time out of the. I can't even record again. Yo, we're gonna have to cut this one, I guess, short a little bit.